Namaste, I JV Azmat Faruki from the Faculty of Education and Methodology. In this lecture, we will discuss about the history of American literature. So, through American literature, what we understand, the literature we have read, which belongs to the United States of America, as we get the idea from the name. So, when we talk about American literature, what firstly get the idea about America is the colonialism. So, in just like India, America was also under the British rule at once, and how it increases, uh, how it developed throughout the time is very remarkable. So, so now we will see the basic idea about what American literature is all about. So, American literature refers to the body which is written in literary works produced in United States. By the name, we get the idea that through the name of American literature, we are going to study the literature of United States of America. Also, it encompasses a wide range of genre, themes, and writing style reflecting the diverse cultural, historical, and social experiences of American people. So, how American people face the whole, the whole scenario. Okay, what was the theme? What was the prominent, genres are there? Okay, what are the themes and style? Their writing style was there at the starting of the uh, uh, era. Okay, what are the diverse culture, what are the historical and social contexts are there, we will discuss in American literature. So through in these, in the starting writings of American literature, in in that literature, what we mostly see is that there are historical culture, historical and social contexts are there. Okay, where the religion and religious scriptures are there. Okay, and what people are, what was the culture of that particular time, and how people are dealing with that culture is most prominent in literature, in American literature. So American literature begin in the colonial period with works like sermons, diaries, and religious writings heavily influenced by European traditions. Okay, so if we are talking about anything, like if we talk about any culture, so any particular region, so there are high chances that something is influenced uh, by the other thing. Okay, so if we talk about American culture, so they were highly influenced by European traditions. Okay, so how European were treating, okay, how their works were coming out, and how their culture was there. So American literature was highly influenced by European culture, as well as their writings were basically influenced by the religion, by the church. Okay, so religious writing were there, and sermons and diaries were the first prominent writings of American literature. However, as the nation developed, American writers began to craft unique voices, exploring themes such as identity, freedom, democracy, and the American experiences. So, in the starting, what we get is that they their writings exploring the theme of identity. Okay, so what were the identity of that particular people of that region, and how their freedom took place. Democracy was also there, because they were America was in under the British rule, and what the American people experienced throughout uh, a era. Okay, so key period in American literature, So what are the key periods in American literature? So first of all, we will see the colonial and early American literature, which is come to 1600 to 1776. So this period is marked by religions writing. So what we see in this era, that religious writing was very prominent at that time. Okay, diaries were very important thing. Okay, so the text which is the text which is written in a form of, diary, in a way of in a personal experiences was there. Sermons often reflecting Puritan values, Puritan society. We will discuss the whole Puritan societies in the next in next several lectures. So so the whole Puritan society was how influencing the life of people, uh, the Puritan values how influencing the life of the people of that particular age, a particular region. Notable authors like Anne Bradstreet, the first published American poet, and Jonathan Edwards, a preacher known as for his fire and brimstone sermons. Okay, so these are the two important figures which you have to remember if you are studying the American literature. That the Anne Bradstreet, which is considered as the first American poet, and Jonathan Edward, who was the preacher, and he was well known for his work, Fire and Brimstone Sermons. Now we'll come to the Romantic period. So Romantic period is considered in early 19th century. Okay, so what was happening in this period is the main thing, that it is marked by the fascination with nature, individualism and imagination we will see in the in romantic periods. Okay, so fascination with nature. So there are two types of nature: nature of a human being and nature of our surroundings. Okay, so people were very infatuated with the nature. Okay, so the human nature was important, that we have a human tendency, that our nature is something which we through which we can beautify the whole thing. Individualism is the main thing, that we as an individual are very important, that how we can do certain things as an individual is very important. Imagination. Okay, so people were working on imaginative things, that they were rather they were focusing on the the fictional things. Okay, so writers like Washington Irving, Edgar Allan Poe, we will see Nathan Hawthorne, we will see and Herman Melville. These are the most and very important writers of that particular age, that they explored the themes of works such as the Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, the Scarlet Letter, which was written by Nathan Hawthorne. We will see how the society works. Moby Dick is a very important work. So these are the important works which was written in a romantic age. We will see in our next lectures. So now we will come to the transcendentalism. Okay, so transcendentalism is a very important movement which was occurred in 1830s to 1840s. So it's a philosophical movement that emphasized the importance of nature, self-reliance. Okay, so when we study about transcendentalism, so the whole movement was focused on the core nature of a person. Okay, so how a person uh, how his individuality works, and how the nature is important. Okay, whether we will talk about whether we talk about in the terms of surroundings. Okay, the natural environment, as well as the nature of a person, a individual self. So the self reliance, when we study the uh, essay which was written by Ralph Waldo Emerson, self reliance, we will get the idea that how self is important, how individuality is important, how a person should be follow his own path is very important. So we have to follow our own path. We should not listen to the other people, the whole society, what they are you know what they are trying to make our ways like. Okay, so society is trying to make your way difficult, and they want something else. But but for you, in a self, individually, what you want is very important. Okay, so you should follow your own path rather than listening to others. So self reliance is all about an institution. Leading figures like Ralph Waldo Emerson, as we have already talked about him, and Henry David Thoreau. So these are the two most important name of transcendental movement. Now we'll see the realism and naturalism. So realism, through the word realism, what we get the we will get the idea about like uh, the realism based on the reality. Okay, so what is reality? So we are living in a society that in which we can get the idea of like people were chasing their dream in a particular time. But what was the reality? So reality is something else, which whatever you are thinking right now. Okay, so realism was based on the reality, and naturalism, which is uh, natural in a certain way. Okay, so the response to the idealized depiction of romanticism. So in what people did in romantic age, okay, romanticism, they romanticized all these things. Okay, they beautify all everything. But romanticism, like imagination, is something else from reality. So the attention shift from the romanticism, okay, from the imagination to realism is was there in that movement. Okay, so these movement focused on depicting life as it really was, often with emphasis to on the influence of environment and heredity of human behavior. Writers like Mark Twain, Henry James, and Stephen Crane are notable example. Okay, so through through their works, what we get to know that reality is something else, society is something else. Okay, if you beautify something, if you trying to beautify uh, a society or a person or a culture, but the reality always exists there. Okay, so reality is always far from the imagination. Okay, so through their works we will see how reality works. Now we'll come to modernism. So modernism come to the mid 20th century. So till modernism, what we were getting, we have getting the World War First. Okay, we so modernism is something which through which we will dealing in a a particular range of World War time. Okay, so characterization by break from traditional forms of exploration, new artistic expression, and modernist writers often address the complexity of modern life. Okay, so what in modernism, what we get, we have break the preconceived notions. Okay, what we are facing throughout a long time. Okay, what we have what we have been following since a long time, and now the things have changed. Okay, the scenario has changed, the frame is totally changed, because we were like having a drastic war. Okay, so we were having World War First and World War Second. Okay, so the reality, the canvas has already changed. Now the thinking of people are already changed. Okay, so modernism depicts the shift from like romantic and realistic writing to modernism. Okay, so we are breaking the preconceived notions of writing style, and we have observed lot of things that people started believing in in nothingness. Okay, so the absurdity, we will see the absurdity in the in that particular time. So okay, so alienation, disillusionment, prominent authors. If we talk about prominent authors, so F. Scott Fitzgerald and Ernest Hemingway, William Faulkner and T.S. Eliot, these are the most important poets, okay, writers of that particular age, which talks about the whole modernity. Okay, what modernism is all about. So now contemporary in American literature, we have so so 20th century to present time. Okay, a diverse and evolving field that reflects the complexity of American society. Contemporary authors like Toni Morrison, Don DeLillo, and Jhumpa Lahiri address the issue of race, identity, politics, and globalization. So now the people, the writers who are coming out, they are really vocal about race, identity, their like the existence. Okay, the whole politics. Okay, so now they all are really vocal and liberal. Okay, there are a lot of theories are coming out that how uh, in present context, what we see, that there are lots of race and there were a lot of racial discrimination was there, and still it's relevant. Okay, so in so many region we will see the people who objectify a person through by his facial expressions or the color of his skin. So now they are really vocal about their rights, the whole the whole politics, what are the what things are taking place. Okay, so this was the introduction of American literature. So what are these eras and what are the important periods of American literature? In next classes, next several classes, we will get the idea about the whole uh, you know time period. Okay, so when we study the whole novel, we will see the whole background of the story. Okay, so and the cultural background also. uh, we'll see in the next class. Thank you.